Welcome back, Madridistas of the world. So you've all heard the news. Mbappe has officially told PSG that he wants to leave. Let me give you the view from Madrid, okay? We're going to talk about where I really think we are in the process, given everything I'm hearing. I want to tell you about the mood in Madrid regarding Mbappe's possibly coming. And then I want to talk about the impact on the squad, and I think the impact on European football, because this has the potential of being a dynastic generation. And then I'll give you a couple of comments on the Rayo match coming up on Sunday. Okay, let's get started. Okay, let's get started. Let's get started with the Mbappe story. Now, a few days ago, I put out a video discussing the issue of Mbappe possibly coming. I sort of explained where I thought we were. I gave it about a 75% probability, and I mentioned some of the concerns that people had around here. But let's talk about where we are now. So Mbappe has officially communicated to PSG he wants to leave. There's been no official statement from Real Madrid or Mbappe regarding where he's going. But the writing is sort of on the wall. I think at this point the probabilities realistically are about 90%, because remember, at this point Real Madrid is not going to make a statement, because, well, I would be very, very surprised, knowing what I know about Florentino Perez and the club, etc. You're in the middle of a season. You don't want to distract your players. You might run into PSG in the Champions League at some stage. It would just be very kind of inappropriate to do so now. So I'm not expecting an official statement. But I do think that the probabilities have increased significantly. Now, the YouTubers here, there's just like a bunch of them, and they speak for hours and hours and hours, and they all kind of try to convey that they have less sort of a special contact, etc. I mean, I think most of that I think is really hot air. Realistically, we're not going to get an official statement. I don't think anybody truly has an inside source confirming this. So I'm going to give it about a 90% probability. Another important thing to mention is that on this occasion, the leverage is entirely on our side. Now, 2 years ago, when we tried to bring Mbappe, we were trying to compete with Qatari money. It was ahead of the World Cup. And, we were really throwing absolutely everything at this. That has changed completely. I think Mbappe knows this is your last opportunity. It has to be on our terms. You've burnt us before. So I think in terms of the financial details of the operation, I think that he will come in for substantially less than he would have a couple of years ago, which I think leaves the club open to other possibilities that are quite interesting. Okay, now let's talk about the mood in Madrid. Okay, so there is excitement, because I think he's the best player in the world right now, and that is the consensus in Madrid. He's an incredible player. It would be obviously incredibly exciting to have him. But as I mentioned in that first video, there is a bit of skepticism, okay, because we haven't just been here once before, we've been here twice before. So it's not once bitten, twice shy, it's twice bitten, thrice shy. So there is a little bit of concern, because we don't want to get our hopes up either. So there's that. And then of course there's concern regarding the chemistry and sort of the impact on the lineup, and we'll discuss that now. In terms of the impact on the team, this city loves Vini. Okay, he is adored. He's actually progressing as a player. We don't want to let him go. So I think that this is going to require a lot of flexibility. And if you notice, Ancelotti has been giving Vini a lot more liberty around the pitch lately, and I think it's part of kind of preparing him to have more versatility on the pitch instead of being always stuck on the left. But it will require, some adapting, because if you think about the possible formation, you can play with two up front. I mean, you can have Mbappe and Vini and Bellingham behind them. You can also play with Mbappe in the middle and sort of have, Rodrigo or Brahim on one side and Vini on the left, with Bellingham and all the muscle behind him, the Tchouaménis, the Camavingas, the Valverdes. So, it will require some flexibility. And don't forget that Enric, the young Brazilian, is also coming in summer. So this is going to take a lot of very careful managing. I think that when Ancelotti renewed for 2 more years, some of us were a bit surprised about that, but I think that he renewed because he knew something big was coming. The club knew something big was coming, and they told him, you're the best person to manage these kind of uncomfortable situations, because he's absolutely excellent at it. I think if you look at the way he managed the squad this year, it's exceptional. So I think that has a lot to do with it. Now, let's talk about the impact potentially on European football. Now, if you look at this lineup and you look at the age of these players, it is frightening. It is absolutely frightening. This looks like a Galacticos 2, except they're all kids. Because, the age of the Rodrigos, the Vini, the Valverde, Camavinga, Tchouaméni, Jude, and now Mbappe. This is a very, very, very young squad, and they are the best of the best. So, you never want to jinx anything, and you don't want to get overly excited, but this generation, my goodness, this generation could write history. It's just a mouth-watering thought. So listen, that's kind of where I think we are. We need to kind of calm down. This looks very, very likely to happen. It will take a lot of adjustment, but it is a very exciting thought. So I just wanted to make sure that you had my thoughts, given all the noise in the media. Finally, just some comments ahead of the Rayo match on Sunday. As you know, we drew at home to Rayo, but I'm not sure that really says much. If you notice, Real Madrid historically struggles against modest clubs that come to the Bernabeu and just lock themselves in the back because we can't find any space. We start to get frustrated. We tend to play much better against these teams away from home because the home team has to attack. They have to leave space open. And with our speed and our skill, we tend to find the away matches easier, which is somewhat ironic. Now, the Brahim injury, he got a knock on the Leipzig match. It looks like that was not a big deal, so I think he will be available. I'm expecting to see him play. So I'm going to leave you with that in terms of the Rayo match. I will definitely do a post-match analysis, but I wanted to give you my thoughts on the Mbappe saga. So I hope you enjoyed it. I'll catch you on the post. A la Madrid.